And we need
And especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Always had his back, right? Saved his campaign.
I said at the outset, I wanted to represent this campaign to represent and look like
South
America.
Carolina.
Look.
Saved the election night. Joe Biden said, I got y'all back.
Joe Biden is fucking funny.
Hey, man, have they let out nonviolent criminals for marijuana offenses yet?
No.
Right.
They ain't letting these niggas go.
Anything reparations based?
No.
I mean, Canada has a reparations.
Look.
Oh, okay. None of that. How about no knock warrants? Can we at least sign an executive order so we could just get a reprieve?
No.
4 years? No, not that either.
Mike want Joe Biden to do
all right, let's see here. We got
him here to do.
Student loan reform. You know, black people, we went to college.
Nope.
Matter of fact, there was an article written out that blacks going to college have not closed the wealth gap the way it was supposed to. Matter of fact, not only has it not closed the wealth gap, but now trade jobs are the higher paying jobs than college jobs now. Like there's trade jobs that pay as much as STEM jobs now.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Joe Biden, when you say you had our back, did you mean what? You scratch our back? You pat us on the back? Pat us on the back. That's what he meant. We misheard.
Didn't he give y'all a stimulus check, or was that Trump's too?
We misheard him. We misheard. All right. Thank you, Joe Biden. Anyway, terrible fucking week for Joe Biden. We can't polish this turd. We can't put no lipstick on this fucking pig.
Here we go.
Everything that's going on in Afghanistan, it's looking terrible for the Democrats. I don't know how the Democrats win the election. For the record, I'm nonpartisan, but I lean left. Anybody who knows me, if you follow me, more than 20 fucking minutes, you understand. I do lean left because the far right is just batshit fucking crazy. Far left is batshit crazy as well, but the far right, they're batshit crazy and they like lynching people and shit. Like they embrace racism, whereas at least on the left, they like racism. It's different, right? Like there's one you want to sleep with it and live with it and caress yourself with it, and the other one just want to hug it. All right, so like both sides are racist, but as black people, we tend to just fuck with the side that just want to hug racism and not the side that actually wants to worship it and turn it into a god. Afghanistan is fucking terrible.
It's a horrible situation,
and I'm pissed off about it. Right? Like I'm pissed off about Afghanistan because
talk to me.
It was an area. So here's the thing. I get tired of areas that are moderate, right? The Persians, the Iranians were moderate until we put the Ayatollah in charge.
Okay.
Same thing with Lebanon. Like Beirut was considered the Paris of the Middle East.
Okay.
At a given time, and it's the same thing. So Afghanis and Iranians are actually the same people. They have more of a religious mix up between the two, but they speak the same language. They're like the same genetic DNA makeup. They'll do an ancestry test. They're the same. So most Afghanis are moderates, which is why Kabul was able to take off. Now I say this brief history lesson to say what pisses me off about this is that you have the women and the children that was going to college and getting educated and wanted to change the area. All right. Mm-hmm. The men did not put up a fight. And we know what this podcast is like. We always talk about the accountability and the responsibility of men.
And we getting into that later too. We're going to get into it all.
And I know people say this. It's easy to say that from over here. I would have a hard time leaving behind my wife and my children. I really, really would. Like I've had to make some hard decisions in my life that I never discuss online because I don't want my son to listen to them or anybody else to listen to them that might need to know. But there's, every time there's a hard decision to make, I've made that hard decision. When I see the Taliban just walk into your city and you just hand it over, right? You don't even fight. Look, no one wants to get beat up.
Absolutely.
I understand this shit. Look, I would never forget when I was in college. I used to want all the smoke sometimes. So I remember, I believe it was my freshman year. We was at some young lady's apartment, me and one of my homeboys, probably watching. And so some guys had called down to the young lady's apartment and they were like, I hear guys in the background, because they liked one of the girls or whatever. Now, I don't know if we liked the same girl. I can't tell you what was really transpiring there. But anyway, it ended up, it ended up being, two young, men going back and forth. One was on the phone, one was here. Long story short, the area that I'm from, the place that I'm from, I don't really take most threats seriously, because you know what? If you want to do something, you're gonna do it. You're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
So I thought so these young men were saying that they were gonna come and kick my ass.
Oh gosh. Right?
I didn't take them serious because I was like, if they was actually coming to kick my ass, they'd be there
already.
Yeah, and they were not there. So long story short, my homeboy that was talking shit with me,
I can already see where it's going.
He ends up going home. I end up falling asleep in the apartment, right?
Oh gosh.
Now, I'm saying all this because I know y'all saying that it's easy to say what you won't do when you ain't there, right?
Absolutely.
So I told you I had a problem with all these Afghani men running off. All right, long story short, we're in college, so there's twin beds, right? So I'm in one of the young ladies' bed, not with her. I was just I fell asleep. I was in one of their beds, and I get like awakened at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Right? So and I'm asleep. So I feel somebody like grabbing my foot, so I like wake up or whatever, like lift my head up.
Yeah.
And dude, I could have sworn it was 100 dudes in this bedroom. I could have sworn it was 100. I mean, it wasn't 100, but I'm half asleep, my eyes are groggy, and I was like, God damn, these motherfuckers really drove 3 hours to come kick my ass.
Yeah, you was talking cash.
Yeah, I was talking cash, right? I was like, damn, they really came 3 hours. So I was like, it wasn't nothing I could do, so I just put my head back down. I was like, bro, first, I'll never forget, I did say this, because I am always a smart ass. Yeah. I was like, bro, y'all really drove 3 hours to whoop my ass. Because there's 100 dudes in there, so I'm getting my ass whooped. I'm not winning this fight.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure that, I don't care how much I can fight. I'm like, yo, I'm going to get my butt whooped. I know that for sure. And I just put my head back down. And they were like, all the stuff that you imagine, full of testosterone, motherfuckers saying to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I got my head back down because I'm like, yo, if I get hit, I'd rather them hit me in my back than hit me in my fucking face. So, fuck it. I'm not turning around. Oh, we got a problem here? So, the dude ended up, grabbing my leg. So, when one of them grabbed my leg to pull me off the bed, I'm getting somewhere with the story. I hop up. I get in the corner. My back is against the wall. All right? By this time, the adrenaline's flowing. I can see 6 dudes. All right? 6 strapping dudes. They play football.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm like, so I looked for the smallest one, and I was like, yo, only thing I'm going to try to do is grab that smallest one, and I'm going to try to hurt him to a point that he'll scream enough that it'll make them stop, and then I'll buck out of here. That was my plan.
Such a bad plan, but go ahead.
That's a terrible plan, but everything was terrible at this point. It doesn't matter what I was going to do. I was going to take that L. Long story short, what happens when fights happen. I got sucker punched. So when I got sucker punched, I was about to hit another dude, but the girls who stayed there jumped in front of me. She ended up getting hit. I love black women because, you know what? Y'all are the real ones.
Yeah.
That stopped the fight, and they left the room like fucking idiots, and I ended up having to jump out of a 3rd-story window. I had to bail. I had to bail. So I want to say, when it's 6-on-1, you should bail.
Absolutely.
But if it's 1-on-6, you should not bail. And in Afghanistan, they had more soldiers than the fucking Taliban. So I don't want to hear this weak ass shit of they were afraid to fight. It was more of them than the Taliban. That was weak fucking sauce.
That's a great story. And let me tell you why that was a great story. I remember one day we were out of town. Where would we? Somebody gonna be like, yo, is he on Baller Alert? Y'all stop being nosy.
Used to be.
We was in Miami, and you told us about how you was in some girl dorm and you jumped out of a window, but you never gave the backstory. So that is why that shit is fucking funny.
I do not tell most of everything because for one, the internet is forever. Absolutely. Some stories I would never tell online ever. And I would deny if anybody asked. And some of them are so wild that if it wasn't somebody there, you wouldn't believe it.
Yo, shout out to my 15,000 followers that's watching this on my story right now. They really enjoy that. You got your video for the 50 kids? Or that's coming later?
That's coming later.
So you sent me an interesting video from a young lady. And it was a video about dating. I'm about to pull this up right now. I don't know where Mike be finding these videos at.
Yo, so, believe it or not, most of the stuff that comes to me actually comes from a female.
Really?
So a lot of times when people think that I'm like sitting here and like picking like fights with women, I really don't. Most of these be coming from my homegirls, but because y'all never hold one another accountable, y'all like to make somebody else
Here go Mike.
bring this shit up.
Mike early in the pod is telling women they unaccountable. I got into it with some ladies on Twitter.
They are not accountable. There's a lot of men that's not accountable too. So I know sometimes it's not we bang on the women. But in our circle, man, like we really do be like, nah, bro.
I did get into it with some ladies on Twitter about colorism and how my thing was more people have experienced, in my experience, more people have experienced colorism from women, in black women, I said actually, than what we like to talk about. Or I said actually from that. Now, she got into it. She said, I said colorism was women's fault. Is there responsibility?
Oh, you got a red herring logical fallacy off the dick.
Yeah. So and
whole nother conversation. We ain't even talking about this.
In the grand scheme of it, when we get done to the end, I realized she was talking from emotion. I'm not calling her emotional, but she was talking from emotional and I told her, I said, I did not even use those two words that you said.
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
And I said, you can actually, your group can represent a majority of the people that's involved, but you're not responsible for a majority of the actions. Yeah. And I was like, so I never talked about the actions. I'm just saying every dude I know has ran into a woman. It's like, yo, I like somebody darker. I like somebody lighter. I said, dudes, personally, we don't say, yo, bro, we can't pick you up in basketball because you're too dark.
That is true.
We don't say, yo, bro, we're going to the club.
I'm not going to be your friend. Because you're dark.
You can't come out with me to the club tonight because you're too light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Women talk about how they do that to each other all the time. But anyway, she went on, her followers was going in, and I was just like, it's cool, sis.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like you got to understand, where is the win? Sometimes there is just no win.
So, but my thing is, we're getting to this point, and I think we said this is totally off topic, by the way, but we gotten to this point where men are finding ways to say, you know what? I'm not related to you, sleeping with you, or dating you, or actively trying to. So because there's no win, or because it's not worth it to me, I'm not even going to try to help, correct, or be willing to be educated myself in this situation. I'm going to let you state your shit and I'm going to keep it moving. But
yeah, I mean, because relations. I know that we mention Kevin Sammy sometimes on the podcast jokingly, but one place where he's absolutely right is where he used, and this is wholly his sign language, right? Shame, insult, shame, insult, guilt, need to be right.
Okay.
And when you're having a conversation with somebody, and the first thing they want to do is shame you or insult you. Yeah. Right. And then from there it's like, well, I want to guilt you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to lay in privilege. Matter of fact, I just had a discussion with a really good friend of mine because she did not want to get vaccinated. And I jokingly pretty much started calling her an anti-vaxxer. She's not. Well, she is on this, so I guess by term she would be. And we had the conversation. And she just went. She went places that she didn't have to go, but she wanted to win the argument. Yeah. So the first part was like, like shame, like, well, you bite your nails, right? Mm-hmm. Which she's absolutely right. If y'all watch this podcast, you'll notice that sometimes I bite my nails, but for the most part, I don't. And I don't even have short nails. It's a habit that I'm having to break. I don't mind her saying that, but she wanted to bring that back to me in shame. I need her to hold me accountable regarding that, right? But Absolutely. When you try to use it shamefully, that's wrong, right? Then she went to insult. She was just like, you should have been working out all this time. You wanted to take the vaccine because you didn't work out, right? Even though I've been working out for the past year, maybe a year and a half.
I about to say it's probably been about a year.
But she's bringing up stuff from 5 years ago, right? She want to insult me because she works out every day. She has an amazing, shape, right?
Shout out to
her. And then she goes to guilt, right? Then she goes to, as a man, you don't understand women's bodies. Someone is always telling you what to do. I'm like, whoa, right? And then, by the end, it was the need to be right. And I just told her, like, hey, if you feel that by the end of this, like whatever choice you make, there's a decision tree that branches off from it. Mm-hmm. And everything that branches off from it is a consequence, whether it's a positive consequence or a negative consequence. So your decision creates this decision tree. If you're able to accept positive or negative, whatever decision that you make, then this decision is wholly yours.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to make you do anything. So to that point, yes, I'm saying that it's hard for people to hold themselves accountable.
Absolutely.
It has to be someone else's fault. To your point, we're going to talk about this with two of the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
That accountability. The reason why we don't really see in our circle accountability is because we do call one another out.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like, you know, and we do it gracefully and we do it mercifully. Like the conversation I had with my homegirl this morning, I was like, hey, I'm telling you this because I love you. Yeah. And it didn't really bother me. I recognized it, but I understood you wasn't in a state to talk about it yesterday. I want to tell you about this today because I was like, if you're doing it with me, your homeboy that you can share anything with, that you can talk to about anything.
Oh yeah, you
guess what you're doing to people that's close to you.
Shooting their ass.
You shooting their ass. I was just like, that's not the person that you want to be. From what you've told me, that's not the person you want to be.
Bro, she over there flaming people.
Yeah, she is. She absolutely is.
All right, man, let's get into this video. This is going to get interesting. Let's pray that Mike does not go crazy. Hold on. Come on. Oh, there you go. I hate Instagram.
So, remember we did the video on Lizzo yesterday, and I was talking about people with a low self-esteem come from either a place of shame or they come from a place of grandiosity, right? So when you're in a place of grandiosity, you can be boundaryless. And when you have no boundaries, that's when you're abusive to other people in the way that you talk to them and treat them. And that is something that I see in the black community way too much. And it's glorified.
A lot of grandiosity.
Grandiosity.
Like, I'm the greatest, look at me.
And you are nothing. And
you're nothing.
And you know what else I see? This relationship failed because there's something wrong with black men. This relationship failed because there's something inherently wrong with black women. I do not agree with that. I think.
You want me to keep going?
No.
That's good.
No, we can stop there. And I agree with her on the blame game. Like, there is no fucking accountability in our community. Everything is someone else's fault, right? Like, you know, a boy breaks up with a girl, you know, all women ain't shit. Girl breaks up with a guy, all men ain't shit.
It's a cycle.
Yeah, it is. And it's not a good cycle because here's the thing. This is how I know y'all don't go to fucking
they go to therapy, Mike.
They don't go to therapy. This is how I know y'all don't go to therapy. Because I've talked to fucking therapists and I know what the fuck therapists say. And I know how therapists hold you accountable.
I believe y'all lies when y'all say y'all go to therapy.
I know. I don't. I know better. I know better. And where she's right is it goes back to the old saying, right? Hurt people hurt people. And we do not understand why boundaries exist anymore, right? Like, we feel that with people that we love, that we shouldn't have a boundary, right? Like, I should be able to do anything. You know, one of the parts I did, like she mentioned with parents and children, because, you know, as black kids, we do not have any privacy. And I ain't saying that black kids should. Yeah. But what I am saying that we need to be aware when we're crossing a boundary.
Bro, you remember your people wouldn't even let you close the door.
No, my son can't close the door. So I mean, I get it, but you got to understand when you're crossing a boundary, right? There has to be a reason for the desired result, right? The desired result just can't be because I said so, right? There has to be a reason behind it. And most of the time, when we're in these relationships, when we're parenting, there's not a lot of reasoning behind the desired result. You know, it reminds me of the story. My dad is a pastor. And he would tell the story in church that his wife used to cut the bottom of the roast off and throw it under the roast and put it in the oven. And you know, he was like, "Babe, why you always cut the end of the roast off and throw it under the roast?" She was like, "I don't know. My mom used to do that." So she calls her mom. "Mom, why do you cut the end of the roast off and throw it under the roast when you put it in the oven?" And she was like, "I don't know, baby." She was like, "My mama used to do it." So, and then, she calls her mom. It's like, "Hey, mama, why would you, the young girl's grandma, why would you cut the end of the roast off and throw it under the roast when you put it in the oven?" And she was like, "Baby, the pot was too small." You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the reason for the result that you're desiring? Sometimes we're just doing things because it's just habit. And if we're saying that we're in a rotational trauma, right?
True.
The worst thing or the least thing that we could do is understand why are we desiring the result? What is the reasoning behind desiring the result? And that falls back on, are you going to be accountable for your actions? Are you going to be accountable for the things that you're talking about? Are you going to be accountable for the things that you said? Not if you do that, then I'll do this. And not because you said, I was terrible at this. I'll be the first to admit. Whenever I used to get into an argument, I had to say, well, this is what you said to make me get in that argument, right? It's not my fault that I went off on you. You said this, and that engaged me into the argument.
Look at Mike admitting to his toxic trait.
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was younger, not a kid. But but now, if someone is using, to quote Kevin, if someone is using sign language, right? If someone is using shame, if someone is insulting me, if someone is trying to guilt me, if somebody needs to be right, I no longer have that desire to say, well, I got to be right? I can relent. Like, what am I losing? True. I'm not losing anything.
True.
Matter of fact, I get my time back because I'm not going to argue for the next hour and a half with you.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to let you go on and get it off your chest. And then I'll come back the next day and be like, hey, can we talk about some of those behaviors that you exhibited yesterday?
Yeah, my dad told me once I got married, he said, don't keep score. So I was like, what? He's like, hey, man, I'll give you a piece of advice. He's like, do not keep score. And I laughed at it because I'm like, I do that now.
Yeah.
That's my thing right there.
Yeah. That's what I do.
But it's
my city boy trait.
Yeah, that's my trait. Like, I know where we at. Look, I know who turn it is to do this, to do that, whatever. And then I realized, I'm like, damn. But it kind of goes back to what you were saying with him saying that to me is like, you got to cut out some of that trauma and some of those things that you experienced to say, yo, we cannot have that going forward.
It's not gonna be successful. It doesn't mean that you can't cross boundaries, right? Sometimes people are wrong, right? Sometimes a kid needs correction. Sometimes we need correction, right? Doesn't mean that you can't go across that boundary, but are you doing it in love? Right. This is the biggest part about masculinity that no one is talking about right now.
Okay.
Right. Men are supposed to be caring. Men are supposed to be supportive. Men are supposed to be gracious. Yeah. A man supposed to have the ability to offer grace. You don't offer grace from the bottom. You can only offer grace from the fucking top. No one gives a fuck if you're on the bottom and you say I'm sorry. But when you're up top and you say I'm sorry, bro, that shit resonates all the way down. When everyone knows that they are cared for, when people understand that I can make a mistake and it's not the end of the world, it's going to push people harder because they're not going hard for themselves at that point. They're going hard for you.
Absolutely.
So mistakes are part of the game. You don't get wisdom without failure.
Absolutely.
How the fuck would you get wisdom if you never fucked up? Right?
Yeah.
It's the ability to fuck up that makes people smart.
I hope our community can have time to sit down and communicate this shit.
We don't though. In this country,
I know.
We just don't. We do not have Joe Biden. We started the podcast with Joe Biden saying he owe us, and what have Joe Biden gave us?
Nothing.
This dude ain't even sent us a stamp. You know what I'm saying? So like,
we ain't even got the Harriet bill.
Yeah. So we ain't even got the Harriet bill. So it's like, what has to elevate our community is the black man. This podcast ain't for every black man. I can't tell you how many times we're gonna read the Simp post of the week at the end. I can't tell you how many times I see us wanting to be emotional in our decision, right? I want to make my decision based upon my feeling. Men, we don't get, right? Like if that's the ice cream to the chocolate cake, you would never have ice cream on chocolate cake. Yeah. You got to get over that shit and you got to just move on from it. Does it suck? Would you like to have ice cream? Absolutely. Are you ever going to get it? No. Not happening. Grow the fuck up, be accountable, man up, and understand that being a man isn't just being, in charge. It's also leading from the behind sometimes.
Absolutely.
In the strongest wolf packs, what they will have is in the front, sometimes they'll let the young wolf lead, the alpha wolf. People think that's the alpha wolf. But in the back are the fighters.
Absolutely.
Right? Those are the people that can actually save all of the wolves because the older ones tend
to be in the middle.
To lead will be towards the back, middle and towards the back. So all the young, wolves, all the old wolves, anything that could actually be attacked and killed and eaten tends to be to the back. So what happens is the stronger wolves are at the back to protect them.
Yep.
So you got to understand, like, where do you want to be as a man? It's a quote. They attributed it to Jenna Hercletus, but I read that it's not here. But he basically says that, out of every war, 100 men goes to war. We probably used it before. he was like 10 don't belong there, right? So sometimes there's men in our circle that just don't fucking belong. Can't do nothing about it if your circle's big.
Yeah.
He said 80 are targets, right? 80, like you go to war, 80 are just fucking targets.
Yeah.
He said 9 are fighters, and we're lucky to have them because they make war.
Yep.
And one is the warrior, and the warrior job is to bring everybody home. That's his job, to bring everybody home. But if the warrior went out there by himself, he could get picked off because he's by himself.
Absolutely.
But when you got 80 targets in front of you, you know what I'm saying? When you got 80 ain't shit dudes in front of you, that helps you win. When you surround yourself with fighters, that helps you win. And those 10 dudes who absolutely don't belong there, they're distracting too. They belong too. But the dudes that want to be fighters and the dudes that want to be warriors, we have to understand, we don't get the ice cream, bro.
Yeah.
That ain't ours. The 80 get the ice cream. The 10 that don't belong get the ice cream. You got to be willing to be like, bruh, it's my job to get everybody fucking home, though. I got to be accountable. I got to be the leader. It's my job to win. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on the winners. That's all. Remember that. Like, we got to do better, be better, grow stronger.
Come on, man. We got to pull it together. All right, man. What else we got to discuss before I start ripping Drake and Kanye a new one?
Oh, let's go into Drake and Kanye. What's going on with them?
So, all right, let me tell y'all something. I must tell Pusha T, you are a freaking genius. So, those who do not know, when Drake and Kanye got into their last little beef, Pusha came out. He did a full interview and still remained in his job and position, which I find amazing. And he talked about how Drake and Kanye are like play friends. And he's like, they the type of people who's like, they shoot at each other all day, and then when it's time for either one of them to do something, they go around each other and use each other for what they need and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So I say all that because Drake on his last album spent half of it dissing Kanye, and now they back in the studio hanging out and they friends and shit. And it just makes me even more realize like how corny, and me and you we talked about off air just how weird men are.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, that's some weirdo shit.
Men are weird, but here's the thing, like, if you ain't willing to actually eviscerate someone, hell, I think this is either the 48 or Art of War. I can't remember which one. Mm-hmm. But it's basically saying if you're not able to eviscerate your enemy, you don't have an enemy.
Yeah, true.
So if they're not willing to destroy one another in real life, then there's no reason to actually play that they're not enemies in play life. Like the Taliban was absolutely going to kill the president of Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
He has an enemy.
Yeah.
They're going to eviscerate his ass. So he actually has an enemy. But, the Taliban and the warlords, probably not so much enemies, right?
Absolutely.
They fight when they have to. Like, bro, why the hell you in my opium field, this season? But outside of that, we cool.
We cool. We'll make it work.
Yeah, make it work.
You want to get in this Draymond and KD interview?
Man, I heard about it. I didn't listen to it. Well, excuse me. I heard a little bit of it on the radio because it was actually on sports radio yesterday. It was a big deal. But I didn't hear the podcast that they were on. So
Draymond is starting a new podcast. I definitely believe Draymond is going to be on TV one day. I think he's going to
be worse than Barkley, man.
I was going to, okay, to be fair, I was going to say he's going to replace Charles Barkley, but I like Charles on TV.
No, listen, okay, so I like Charles on TV, but Charles sometimes does some revisionist history. Well, Charles sometimes act like he ain't never ring chase. He ain't never go after the money. He was never a bad guy.
Charles Barkley is like your drunk uncle who talking and don't realize like he used to be you, but he giving you all the advice and all that shit.
No, I would agree. I would agree with that.
And so it's an interesting interview because they're talking, and it's like, first thing that bothered me was Draymond is talking to KD, asking him all the questions that Stephen A has asked, that Shannon Sharp, when he was challenging KD online, has asked, that everybody who on Twitter who KD feels like responding to has asked. But the thing that bothered me, they get to the topic of what happened in Golden State. And the conversation turned into, Draymond said whatever. And then KD was like, ultimately that led me out the door.
Yeah.
And he was like, and Draymond goes on this rant about how management told me I need to talk to you. They told me I needed to apologize. And he's like, I laughed in their face. And he kept joking. And then he goes, yeah, I feel like they messed it up. And KD goes, yeah, the management did mess it up. They didn't make us talk. And the only thing I kept thinking of is 15 of y'all on the team.
Yeah.
Why do y'all need y'all coach and owners to come in and say y'all need to talk? And what really hit me at the end was Draymond Green's unwillingness to be held accountable for his actions on how he broke up a possible dynasty.
Well, he absolutely broke up a dynasty, and I appreciate Draymond for that. That's the only thing good that I like about Draymond Green.
Bro, it's like you talking and you was like, oh, Bob Myers, I laughed in his. First of all, when I listened to the interview, I said, oh, Draymond's trying to get traded.
Yeah, I see, and that's the thing. To your point, neither, and I heard that portion of it where he was blaming Bob Myers for, like they can't make y'all grown men. They can't make y'all really do anything.
Absolutely.
They could find you and do a bunch of stupid stuff, but I mean, as men, I'd rather be like, hey, I'd rather y'all just figure this out on your own.
Yeah,
but Draymond, he runs a little bit of the seemingly fake tough guy, thing.
Absolutely.
And Kevin Durant doesn't come across as the most aggressive type man.
Absolutely. He's not aggressive at all.
On the planet. So I can see how this conversation transpired the way it transpired. But I don't blame them for not giving us what we want, right? Like what we want is Kwame Brown and Matt Barnes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we want.
Absolutely.
And real talk, I think if Kwame Brown and Matt Barnes actually were in front of each other, I think they'd have a conversation. I think it'd get loud, but I don't think they fight because I think they both real dudes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And real, the old quote, right? Real recognizes real.
Absolutely.
Like I know that, if this conversation has to go somewhere, we're going to put hands on one another and we're not going to be nice about it.
Absolutely.
So most of the time, men like to restrain themselves from that, right? Look at your governments, look at your nations, right? Mm-hmm. Russia don't like America. China doesn't like America. America
Facts.
don't like China or Russia. But
Facts.
everybody's restrained. Everybody's like,
is it worth it?
Exactly. Is it worth it? So, but when I look at Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, I don't get those restrained vibes. I get those ducking vibes. Like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna poke my head up and I'm gonna say something. And then if you get too upset, then I'm gonna take it back and tell you I was joking. I don't really get that. Like, nah, Kevin, I ain't like that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, cause that would have been real.
Yeah.
A Draymond, bro, you average like 9 points a game without me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
How you gonna sit here and be like, you the reason why we successful? Like, bro, for real?
Absolutely.
I'm the best player in the league right now. I'll get at the KD. KD right now is the best NBA player on the planet.
Thank you. He's the greatest of all time.
No.
We had this long conversation before the podcast started about Apple checking people's phones.
All right. Only thing I'm saying on that, if Eric Snowden is against it, I'm against it.
For y'all who don't know, you should know. If you have an iPhone and you upload pictures to your...
No, it's just if you're attached to the cloud.
You're attached to the cloud.
Yeah.
Apple's going to scan your pictures to see any type of pedophile things that's going on in your phone, and they will automatically flag it. I think after a certain amount of time, then something's going to happen.
It or what they're doing is, to be clear about what I've read, is they have a database of images, and if your phone has those images and they're in the cloud, it like geotag. Well, it not geotag, hashtags it. Yeah. So basically, they don't see the image; they just see what the image hash should be. But if you follow like security or whatever, they're already they're computer like white hat hackers that are already saying like, hey, this image of a dog has the same hash as this grocery bag right here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they have the same hash because they don't see the pictures. They just see the hash. Now here's the thing. So what happens is someone reviews that and it's supposed to just, kick it out, right? Like that hash, it was wrong, it was incorrect. The problem with this is they scan it from your device. So there's no more true end-to-end encryption. Okay. Right? So we think end-to-end encryption meaning from my device to someone else's device. Yeah. All right. That's not what end-to-end encryption means in the tech world. They mean that the moment you send it, and the moment the other person receive it, it can't be intercepted in between. Absolutely. So not your device, it's just in between. It's a slippery slope. Why? Because, all right, so everybody remember the scene in Dark Knight where he was like, let's turn on every phone because he wanted to find
the sonar.
That was my joint. And he was and it picked up on everything. Yep. That's what this allows your phone to become. Everyone is going to be like, yo, that sounds far-fetched. Not really, right? Nah. If there's a terrorist attack and they say, hey, it's a red, GMC Sierra truck, right? And that's all they know.
Yeah.
And they got to find that truck. Yes, what they could do is grab everybody information that was taken any videos, that took any pictures, geotag, and they can actually piece together where that truck went. Right?
Yeah.
Sounds good for terrorism, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good if you have a dictator or authoritative government.
Absolutely.
All right. So it is a slippery slope. At some point, we got to understand that we cannot give up everything to keep us safe for all of our freedoms. Right?
Absolutely. Well,
I believe the quote goes, "Those who give up essential liberties for temporary safety deserve neither."
Well, I mean, think about it right now. We got Siri, so they can hear everything.
Yeah,
we got
like
Alexa.
Siri. Sometimes I just have my AirPods in, and I'm just talking, and she'll be like, "What did you say?" And I'm like, "Bitch, I ain't talking to you.
I ain't talking to you." And it happens. And so you got that. You got your Ring cameras.
Yeah.
You have we laugh now, but like, bro, think about it. My wife asked me, she said, "Yo, I want to get a new shower head." And I'm like, cool. So her thing was, we should get one of the ones that got play music in it. I'm like, why do our shower head need Bluetooth? You know what I'm saying?
We get to the point where we have limited privacy everywhere. You know, I think I remember seeing this meme was like, my wife told me a joke, you know, like I laugh, the kid laugh, the dog laugh, the toaster laugh. I shot the toaster. like everything is becoming, you know, automated to the point like everyone is a part of the conversation.
I laugh at Fast and the Furious is when they kidnapped Vin Diesel's kid. And I remember that scene. It was so cool because they were in Philadelphia, even though they lied and said they were somewhere else. But, you know, part of the movie is they were able to turn on all the cars and move them. And I'm like, yeah, I hope people know that's real. Like, you could do that. Like, if they wanted to, you know, whoever your car is with, they can shut off your car. If the government be like, yo, look, that red, you know, Tahoe that we looking for, that's the terrorist in it, shut it down right now.
Yeah, they can shut it down. And when you get autonomous driving, they'll be able to move your car.
Yeah.
They'll be able to take your car.
Shout out to Tesla.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, these things are coming, which is why, you know, when I'm old and gray, I hope to be someplace that's going to be a little bit more old-fashioned.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, one of y'all going to not pay y'all money for y'all Tesla, and they going to self-drive that shit back to the dealership. Junk going to be classic, dog.
That's going to be classic for real.
That is going to be classic. All right, man. Let's get into our videos, man.
All right, man. What we doing? We doing when Kevin was right?
Let's do it.
All right.
Shout out, for those who do not know, Mike loves Kevin Samuels.
You know what? I enjoy the sassiness, man. I'm going to always tell y'all, I enjoy that shit. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can pull up the video real quick.
Making babies everywhere and putting yourself at potential risk for a piece of ass is not high-value behavior. I've said it for years before I got on here. Shout out to Auburn Preach. They pulled up a video. I asked a guy 3 years ago, how much coochie is enough?
Too much?
If you got to rank your manhood by the amount of inches on your notches on your bedpost, your manhood is rather cheap.
Yep. Now,
So for those who not know, Kevin Samuels talked about measuring your manhood based off the amount of sex you have.
well, and discipline, because a lot of men lack dick discipline. Like they do. Like it's a lot of men. Bro, I had a roommate, man. My dude. The reason why he and I stopped hanging out, this is when I first started coming into my 30s. We could plan anything.
Okay.
We could be like, all the fellas, we grabbing our bikes, we're riding somewhere. All the fellas, we going out to watch the game.
Yeah.
This dude would be like if a chick called him, any chick, right? Not his main chick, any chick called him, he'd cancel what he's doing and he'd run off. And we'd be like, bro, man, dude, that's chick behavior, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we could all be sitting down, you know, got our beers, man, he'd get a text, he getting up and go and leave. We'd be like, bro, you for real? Like, you gonna watch the game? You know, and then like, you know, like we wasn't saying it like, bro, we gonna miss you, we don't want you to leave, but we were just saying it like, bro, do you not have any dick discipline?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is
like
it necessary for you to do
like
this?
the moment the opportunity arises, you're gonna always drop whatever it is that you're doing. And here's the thing with this: these men with no dick discipline, this is what happens. We're gonna listen to this right here.
Oh gosh.
With 2 different women. Stand up. How many children?
28. How many women? 16. Terrence?
Yeah.
4
4.
children,
With?
2 different women.
Yeah. Ryan?
Almost 5 children with 4.
Almost 5.
Yes, I have
Talk
another.
to me about an almost 5.
I have another baby due November 22nd.
So 4 children.
4 children.
How many mothers?
4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes.
And you got a baby on the way. Okay. And John?
6 baby mothers, 11 children.
11
Jeez.
children. And Jumani?
I have 6 children with 4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here's what I want us to get.
All right. Now she goes on to say, now I do have a problem with this because it's bullshit cannon fodder. I hate because it makes it because none of those women are there.
Oh, absolutely not.
And again, it always goes back to accountability. But this is the problem that I have.
Okay.
20% of the men in our community make 70% of the babies.
Okay.
20% of the men make 70% of the babies. That is 5 guys. Those 5 men have 50 baby mamas, 87 kids. 5 men.
That's
right?
disgusting.
How many women are saying men ain't shit? 50. How many ain't shit men is it? 5.
5. But it's never mind.
It's 50. 50 women have allowed these ain't shit men to seed their womb during their ovulation cycle. Oh, I got a bunch of bad feedback on that. Women telling me I don't know how women bodies work. Look, ladies. All I said is scientifically, if the egg isn't there, you can't get pregnant if it can't get seeded. I'm trying to make sure men understand the exact same thing. If that egg isn't there, you can skeet all you want. If that egg is there, you can't skeet all you want unless you want a baby. Now, here's the thing. If you don't want a baby with women, the minimum conversation you got to start having with women is, hey, are you on birth control? Hey, can you verify it? I think this is management 101. Expect if you check what you want to expect check what you need to expect, right?
Okay.
If you expect it, you better check behind it. So if a woman's telling you she's on birth control, she should have no problem verifying to you that she's on birth control. And you should have no problem explaining to her, hey, babe, I don't want children unless we're married.
Yeah, well, that's what we got to get to.
And if that is a point of contention, y'all don't need to be sleeping together.
Well, a lot of people want to be baby moms.
Do the fella want to be, well, you know, here's the thing. That is true, right? Because we got evidently 50 women. It's 5 dudes. You know what? Out of those 5 dudes, I'm going to give 10 of those women a pass. Between 7 and 10, get a pass.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't know that they had an ain't shit dude.
Or they didn't know that he had another kid.
Yeah. But 43 of y'all.
20 of them definitely did not care.
Yeah. And as a man, do you want to sleep with a woman like that? Do you want to sleep with a woman that absolutely don't care if she have a baby by a loser? Right? As a man. No, you should. And if you don't care, you one of these loser ass men. Get off this podcast. Stop watching. Or give us some engagement. Downvote the shit. Post in the comment section that you hate it. And we'll call your ass out on the next fucking podcast. So that's all you got to do.
I'm laughing because my mom is in the live talking about amen. That's why this is funny.
And on that note, we'll probably move to the Simp Post of the week and we can wrap this up.
She said we need to ask those men, do they have mental issues?
Yeah, no, you do. You
Yeah,
do.
because
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And but here's the thing. This narrative destroys all positive black men.
Absolutely.
Because everyone has to pay for what the 20% is doing. Everyone has to pay, right? We're gonna go to the Simp Post of the week. But like men are leaving their marriages, right? Leaving their marriages or relationships. And it's not that they want to leave the children, they're just leaving the woman. The relationship is broken. It doesn't work. And then they're having to go to court and fight these narratives, right? Like that men don't want to be involved. I am in like bitter baby mama groups and bitter baby daddy groups. Like I'm in these groups.
We need to do a post a week from one of these groups.
Dude, but here's the thing,
great.
like you can't like I don't post in them because they're so toxic.
But
I like to see like what are people complaining about. And I will legit see women post that, you know, the dude cannot come see his kid unless she supervised the visit. And it's like, he ain't have to supervise. Like, he even have to wear a condom. What are you talking about? He have to supervise the visit. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like it's over and it's over and it's over. Or you have guys that'll be like, you know, I got one baby mama that's straight, and then I got another baby mama. Like, bro, why you got two baby mamas?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you have two baby? Bro, look. If you got more than two baby mamas, stop dating right now. Go back to your dating pool, because evidently you had like the dude who got 5 baby mamas or 10 baby mamas. Bro, why you out here dating?
Bro, the dude who got 16.
Yeah.
He had like 20-something kids.
Dude,
like, that's disgusting, bro.
Who is sleeping with this guy?
Bro, when you go on that first date and you be like, oh, so what did you do? You tell me bro didn't mention his kids? Because if he did say, oh, you know, yeah, I want to go see my kids. Oh, how many do you have?
You can't even make enough money, bro. Bro, we have seen Antonio Cromartie run out of money. We've seen Travis Henry run out of money. Bro,
Antonio
you
went on
can't
TV.
make enough money for those amount of kids, bro.
You see how much these kids eat?
Dude, this is Sultan work. This is not regular man work, bro. This is rich man work. Like super rich. Not like you. If someone's signing your check, you should not have 5 baby mamas. If you signing the check, maybe. But still don't do it.
All right, let's get to the simp post of the week. This is my favorite part of the podcast because women, y'all really don't like these simps. That to me is mind blowing. And for the men that's listening, since this is a male podcast, a men's podcast, y'all can quit with this because they don't like it. And
they do not like it. They hate
it. They
hate simp posts, man.
Bro.
They hate it. Like, why do y'all do this to yourselves?
You know what happened with simps? Like, she'll allow you to take her out to eat, and then she'll tell you to drop me off at this house. I'm going to my girl's house, and she's actually going to her dude's crib. It's a great story. Oh gosh, I gotta find it for you, bro. It's a great story about a good dude who was in college, and he was hitting on this girl. She invited him out. He went out to eat. She was like, yo, I want you to drop me off at my girl's house. And a dude came outside to turn on the light porch for her in his boxers. It said that he thought he was dropping on his girl's house, and he was like, man, I went home. I was pissed off. She called me in an hour and was like, hey, I'm done with my girl. Can you come pick me up?
Oh, I remember reading that.
Yeah, and the dude like came to the car with the girl and was like, yo, thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Still in his drawers. And he was like, yo, I realized I got played. So
like he went and took it to the groceries. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. It was like a thread or something. Yeah,
greatest story of all
you know
time.
what, man? And look, man, look. Sometimes you do accidentally simp. Like that'll happen.
Yeah.
But we talk about people who simp on purpose.
Ooh,
now this one right here, I'm gonna read it. It's not the worst simp post of the week, but I did want to read it because it played into the topic for the day. It was like, my boy gave his baby mama $450 a month for his daughter. His baby mama friend suggested that she should put him on child support because she'd probably get more. The courts ordered him to give $183 a month, and that's all he gives. That's all he gives her. Nothing more, nothing less. Is he wrong? Now, the reason why I picked this as a simp post is because he's talking on behalf of his boy, for one. And he should go to his boy.
Thank you.
I'm
glad you clarified that because now I see the simpness.
Yeah, exactly. That's the simpness. All right, but let's be clear, fellas. All right, I'm anti child support through the court system.
Okay,
because the courts take money from it.
Okay,
like so like that's the biggest thing. All right, first thing first, take care of your kids. One.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whatever it is that she needs, you should be able to provide it.
Absolutely.
You know, $183 ain't ever enough, bro.
Nah,
it ain't ever enough.
It's
right.
Not.
Like the 450 probably helped.
Yeah.
You know, but the 183 was never enough. But the comment section is why I posted this shit, because it was so many men in the comment section saying, "Nah, all you should do is give her the 183." Y'all, bro, I'm like, dude, take care of your kid, whatever the cost is.
Absolutely, you definitely should. I laugh because I have a homeboy who was in that exact situation. He was paying.
Yeah.
Baby mom got pissed. She took him to court.
Less.
They ordered him to pay less. He's also, and he was like, I laughed. He's like, I started giving her less. This is the same homeboy who we talked about maybe 2 episodes ago when I was talking to, and he was like, yo, once I stopped being petty with her, he's like, she calls me for money now. I don't ask her for what.
Yes.
My daughter is with her. She's getting the money.
Once you stop being petty. Exactly.
And, you know, there's a lesson in not being petty when you in certain relationships, especially with kids. But to go back to this is a simp post for those who did not catch it. Because homeboy is writing on behalf of his boy, hoping that women come there and be like, yeah, he wrong. And then you can start sliding their DMs, start trying to holler at them, and you making this all good.
You're working off your boy's clout to get women to comment. Like, bruh, yeah.
And you know how I feel about that? The same way I felt about in that group that we in. I think a lot of y'all make up Facebook shits. So that y'all make up Facebook scenarios so you could just hear yourself talk.
Yeah. I definitely think a lot of that goes on. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, Facebook is going to be the place that, you know, people whose love language is words of affirmation and narcissistic is going to be where they live. And we have to remind ourselves that, you know, the good women and the good men, for the most part, are people who love language isn't words of affirmation, and people who aren't narcissistic aren't going to be posting on there the most.
I stay away from women.
Like, people always, like, people do not know when I'm in a relationship. People do not know when I'm out of a relationship.
Facts.
Because I'm not posting her.
Absolutely.
I don't need to know what the fuck she did before I met her.
Nope.
Don't fucking care.
Don't want to
Really don't need to know. If I need to know, I'll ask her. And I'll make it safe enough for her to tell me whatever it is that I ask.
I still don't know not one boyfriend my wife has ever
Don't
had.
need to. For what?
For what? I don't care. I've told her. Somebody asked me something about, we was talking about relationships. I was like, I don't know who she ever dated. I said, brother came up and was like, yo, I know your wife. We used to date. I'm going to be like, bro, you telling me something I don't know. Because I didn't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Hey, I'm with her.
Absolutely.
I chose her. And shit, if a woman chooses me, like, yo, she chose me. Like, she don't give a fuck about my goddamn past.
Yeah.
I mean, might should a little bit, but.
Yeah, you might. Hey, look, you should know enough about their past to make sure they don't have 25 baby moms.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing.
That's what you need to be checking for.
But we also need to create safe environments where we can talk about these things and it's not shame, insult,
absolutely
guilt, right? Because those are the reasons why we don't talk about things. We do, as men, you do have to create an environment. We were talking about my friend earlier that we were talking about the sign language, shame, insult. Our friendship is to the point to where we could have those conversations. It was to a point that I could recognize that she was a little bit out of bounds, but I knew why. Right. And you know, and one of the things that I tell her all the time that I hate about our friendship is that our friendship is the kind of friendship I want with a wife. You know what I'm saying? Nothing sexually, not even emotionally, but just that ability to be honest, that ability to have a conversation about anything without having to deal with shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. That's so healthy. Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like, when, you know, if I'm dating a woman, I want to give a woman that. I want her to know that, hey, you can tell me anything. Now, women, let me be clear with y'all.
Here we go.
Drop this shit up front, man. I do not need to be married to you for 5 years and then you be like, oh, you know, I had a baby and, you know, I put it up for adoption. You know, like, bruh, let me know this shit early.
We need to do the things you need to get off the table first date. Oh, I got a question for you because I was on another podcast.
Yeah.
This is so random. How many dates do you go on before you look and see if she's going to attempt to pay for dinner?
You know what? So here's the thing. If I invite somebody out, I just automatically expect to pay. So I'm just one of those dudes. Now, if a woman asks me out, because this is the thing, I'm new to this shit of women asking men out. I ain't gonna lie, I'm new to it. I'm not new to women asking men to come over, right? Used to that, but I am new to women saying like, "Yo, would you?" So I've learned that if a woman asks you out, normally
she's going to pay.
Okay. It still makes me uncomfortable. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I hope my wife pay for dinner tonight though.
Like, well, I mean, a relationship is different. Like your wife or your girlfriend is different. But when you meet women, like it does make me uncomfortable. So to answer that question, like how many times, to be honest, dudes, like, bro, if you can't afford to date, stop dating. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's coming out of your pocket and you're like, damn, man, this is the 9th time, right? What did you say your pops told you? Don't keep score, right?
Don't keep score.
So, you know, if you're like, yo, if you the type of dude to be like, yo, this is the 9th time I done paid for dinner and she ain't tried, bro, stop dating.
Well, you never get into the 9th date with me if you ain't paid, Jay. I'll tell y'all that right now. As the young boy who represents the young boys on this pod, we get in the date for. However, you still not paying on date for, but that's not the point. You got to at least fumble in your purse. Ladies, fumble around in your purse on like date 4 or 5.
They ain't gonna fumble, man.
Yeah,
No, ladies, don't y'all take this advice because y'all like dating these goddamn fuck boys.
Yeah, they do.
And you start fumbling if you want to in the 4th, 5th date.
Yeah, you better pull something out. Sometimes
I
can tell y'all ain't paying for shit because y'all clutch is too small, y'all purse is too small. I say she ain't got no damn wallet in there.
Hey man, sometimes they dress to let you know they ain't about to pay for nothing.
Hell nah.
Or they ain't about to pay for it with the card.
I'm gonna let everybody know before we get up out of here. Y'all need to check out Illmatic and the Clive Davis story on Netflix. It's 2 docs. Both of them are great. Did you know that Nas dropped out of school in the 8th grade?
Not really. I knew he dropped out. But I did not know that Illmatic and Clive Davis was on Netflix.
Yeah, check both, and then they got a Barry Gordy one, but I haven't watched that yet, so I can't speak on it. But the Nas story was just amazing to me to hear how his dad came to him in the 8th grade and was like, "Yo, be a man. You gonna have to man up. You not attempting shit in school. You don't care to be there. We keep changing schools. You ain't got to go back to school." And ultimately, his dad said that and some other shit broke up him and his mom. Like that advice he gave to Nas and his son. And he was like, it was just interesting to hear. I think you were
know what? Two things on that.
Okay.
Looking at where Nas at today.
Absolutely.
Was his dad wrong?
No.
Woo! See, that's the hard shit,
That's the hard
man.
shit, bro.
That's the hard shit that we be trying to talk about. Because a lot of time, it seems like it's bad. And when you said that, I forgot one of the things that I wanted to mention at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about how terrible Joe Biden was, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
The worst.
If Joe Biden, so right now we're saying it's bad because we pulled the troops out of there. On Friday, if Joe Biden says on Friday, we're not pulling the troops out because it's going to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Who supports him on Friday to make that decision?
I mean,
nobody supports him, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody would say you're weak. It's the wrong decision. We need to get our troops home.
Especially the other side.
Yeah, like we would destroy him for making that decision. And in retrospect, that is the right fucking decision.
Yeah.
It goes back to what we always say on this podcast, man. It's like, yo, as men, we have to be so sharp. We have to be so measured. And a lot of times we're not because we're not disciplined. And this society doesn't really give us room to be the kind of disciplined men that we want to become.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just two prime examples of a man doing the right thing, and it don't look like the right thing in the moment.
Absolutely.
But it's absolutely the right thing. Like, do we get Nas if his dad looking at him like, boy, you ain't doing shit.
Yeah, you not.
We wasting time.
Yeah.
Leave school. Was probably the kick in the ass that made Nas become Queensbridge investment, group.
Yeah.
That's where the shit comes from.
Absolutely.
That's where it comes from.
It was interesting. And then the Clive Davis story is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that one first. Clive Davis is wild.
It's 2 hours. It's over 2 hours, and it's actually mind-blowing. And I'll put it like this. You could tell today he still missed Whitney Houston. I'm just leave it at that. And as he should. But just his leadership, his mind. I'll tell you one little thing that I noticed that's so small in the dot. His ability to understand how powerful a handwritten letter is. Yeah. Mind blows me. And if you know anybody, I've worked in jobs where they don't want you to go type up shit. They want you to write a handwritten letter. And for him to recognize how much power that would bring just for his statue keep growing and him handwriting letters to people and just making sure they got it. Yeah. It's mind blowing. But anyway, man, we want to thank y'all for checking in. Shout out to everybody. I had my mom on here and my mother-in-law on here listening.
Wow. And we be cursing up.
I didn't want to tell Mike because I didn't want him to stop cursing.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Hey, and we going to holler at y'all next time.
Holler at your boy.